This math priority standard is on adding and subtracting decimals. What you have to remember when you add and subtract decimals is you need to line up the decimals, and then you would just bring the decimal right down. Number 1, 8 plus 22 and 8/10. Well, we start with 8. There's a decimal in 8, or after 8. It's right here after the 8 because 8 is 8 ones. So now I'm going to add in 22. I'm going to put a 0 here to hold my place. And now I have this lined up correctly. I can add. And I bring my decimal straight down. So the answer for number 1 would be 30 and 8/10. For number 2, we need to make sure that we line up our decimal, but the first number in our subtraction problem always goes on top. So this one is 17 and 6/10, and I'm going to subtract 87 hundredths. So I can put my decimal down first. That might help me figure out how to line up the rest of my numbers. I'm going to put a 0 on top. What I have to remember when I'm subtracting is that if the bottom is bigger, I'm going to borrow. So I'm going to start all the way over farthest to the left. This is the hundredths place. I cannot take 7 from 0, so I must borrow. So I take 1 away, and I borrow as I go. And I put that 1 right in front of the 0. So now it's 10 minus 7. That equals 3. I cannot take 8 from 5, so I must borrow. And I put the 1 I borrowed right in front of the 5. Now I have 15 minus 8. 15 minus 8 is 7. Go to the next column, the ones column. 6 minus 0 is 6. And 1 minus nothing is 1. And I bring my decimal straight down. So my answer is 16 and 73 hundredths. And number 3 is worth 2 points. Number 3, you get a point for explaining a mistake. And then you also get a point for showing your work. So in order to figure out the mistake, I'm going to rewrite the problem and figure out what they did wrong. I know that 9 plus 4 is 13. I'm going to put down the 1. And I'm going to carry the 1 over to the 1's place. Now I bring the decimal straight down. So if I think about what this person did wrong, there's a couple ways you can explain it. You cannot, and the teachers will not accept that you put the decimal in the wrong place. That is not a correct explanation. So you might say they forgot to carry the 1 into the 1's place. That could be an explanation. You might say they mixed up the multiplication rule for decimals, meaning that they thought there was 2 places after the decimal, so they went over 2 places. Another thing is that you might have thought they were adding 0.09 plus 0.04, which would also equal 0.13. So any of these explanations would be good. If you said they didn't line up the decimals, or they put the decimal in the wrong place, that is not enough of an answer, and we will not accept that. We need you to think about what exactly they might have done and then explain that in the correct terminology.